Good evening. Oh wait, yeah. My name is Shomar, and I am your host this evening for this last chance panel. I'm going to start it off by introducing the crew and their role that they had in this production. And I'm going to start it off with our director, Mr. Mitchell.
Hey, I'm Joshua Mitchell. I directed and helped write the film, and I edit the film and all of that stuff. So, hey guys.
I'm Taj. I was the cinematographer and one of the camera operators for the film.
I'm Jordan. I was the writer.
Hey, I'm Shomari. I was a camera operator, a couple scenes, And now we're going to slide it over to the crew, the cast. The cast.
My name is Rachel Johnson, and I played Monique.
What's up, everybody? This is Sean, aka King Gino, and I play Marcel in the Last Chance film.
My name's Ilya, and I played Dr. J.
Hey guys, I'm Kaya Celine, and I played Simone.
Hello, I am David Patrick Whittle, and I play Rodney, aka Bryson's father.
All right, I got you. First question, and we can keep the same order from before with
All right.
Crew and cast. Keep that
Cool.
same order. All right.
Got it.
So the first question is, what was your favorite part in the entire production process?
Oh God.
I don't know. Casting was fun. I guess it was interesting. We'll put it that way. Casting was interesting. Looking at all the 90-something people that tried to or did audition, actually. Yeah, that was a long process. Watching 10 people per character, and even more for Dr. J. It was like 70 of those, so that was hard. But
Everybody wanted to be Dr. J.
Yeah, because I said that it was a kid's film, but we got a lot of adults. I don't know what that was about. But yeah, so I don't know. Being on set was fun. I, of course, was so far away from everybody else. You guys were in the green room talking and hanging out when your scene wasn't going on. Me, Taj, and Shamari were the ones on the set crying when the shots came out weird and whatnot. But that was pretty cool, I guess, to see everybody else having fun at least, because those were some long days. So I'm just glad everybody else was enjoying those long days, because I can't say that the rest of us did.
All right. I was definitely going to say casting as well. My particular part of casting was watching Dr. J auditions, because that was really, really hard to narrow it down, because there are a lot of good ones, and we had to take into account gender, we had to take into account race, age. It was a lot of things we had to take into account to narrow it down to Ilya. So that was great.
Woo.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it was when we were at Stevenson and we were really running and gunning. It was kind of every day where we were running and gunning for every season.
Unfortunately.
I was kind of used to it, because in school, we had to do a whole short in a single night. So it wasn't too harrowing, I guess, for me. But so I just enjoyed it. It's something I kind of look forward to. Part of the process is when you're crunching for time, where you gotta make quick decisions and shift things around on the spot. It's just, I guess, a fun part of being on set.
But I will say my favorite part in the production would have to be shooting at Stevenson and just working all cooperatively to make everything happen, because it reminded me of just some of the projects I had in class where I had to work with someone else, but this time it was a little bit different and I liked it, so I really appreciate it.
My favorite part had to be the table reads and rehearsals, because that's when we were all together, and I really liked the group vibe and meeting everybody and figuring everybody out, and one's character was being figured out together, because when you're shooting, you don't really see everybody, so that's the best part for me.
My favorite part of shooting the movie was one of the scenes where I get into a fight
Of course.
That was my favorite part because that is not like me to get into a fight. So having to channel that emotion, especially being that I'm not an actor by trade, channeling that emotion and trying to work through that scene was pretty fun for me.
So I would have to say my favorite part is actually learning. There's two scenes where Dr. J is like basically doing these activities and really kind of learning the psychology part of why we were doing those activities. So kind of really going through why, you know, what the activities meant for and kind of learning the real purpose behind it was really cool. So I really enjoyed that part. And honestly, just working with the entire cast, it was, oh man, so many laughs. It was great. It was fantastic.
My favorite part would be in between all of the scenes when we would all start cracking jokes and things like that. Because it was just a really good time. Sometimes, you know, had a few takes where we needed to get the laughs together, but it was a really good time.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, the whole process going like right from sending that first audition tape to the reads and to, you know, actually shooting the film. I mean, it's just one big journey. Honestly, I feel that's how it is for like every film. But if I had to choose one, I'd say the whole bedroom scene with me and Bryson, played by Austin, and pretty much, I guess, right going into that intensity where I'm like going into the book bag, trying to rip up the notes. And then like, I don't remember if we had planned to have like Austin like land on the ground or if that was.
Yeah, I remember we didn't plan on hitting him at all. Like, yeah.
But it just like
it kind of just happened that way.
Yeah, it did. Because the room was like real cramped. Yeah, the room was real small. It was like no space, but there's no choice but. So like
yeah. But yeah, I'd probably say that one. It's kind of fun to go all, I guess, full throttle for those couple seconds.
Yeah.
We can carry it on to the second question of the evening, which is specifically for the cats. The question is, what were some challenges you all faced while playing these characters?
So I'm first. Challenges that I faced, I guess just lines, because I had to kind of switch around when it came to roles. So that was the only challenge, really. Other than that, I kind of went with the flow and just making sure that we know our backgrounds. That's kind of a challenge for an actor, any actor, you know, just to remember why you're in the scene, what you're doing in the scene, like what's your motives. That's what I'll say.
For me, oh my goodness, I had a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
I think the most challenging was there's a scene in the movie at the end where I'm like upset that, you know, I can't talk to Simone, which played by Kai Celine. I can't talk to her. She's ignoring me. I'm mad because of this and that and all that kind of stuff. So trying to challenge that or channel that sadness of like borderline crying, because as you can see, I'm a smiler. So that whole scene, we had to redo so many different times because I'm busting out laughing at myself because I'm trying to cry, but it's not working. So that was probably the most challenging, keeping a straight face throughout the whole movie, for real. But in those particular scenes, keeping a straight face was pretty challenging for me.
Most challenging, there's one scene in the movie where I went up to Principal Andrews and basically was asking to get one-on-one counseling sessions with these kids, and it was a really emotional scene. That was definitely probably the most difficult because I really wanted to really present that. I wanted to be as emotional as possible, but I basically had to, I had to be sad, angry, frustrated. I had to compile all these emotions, and making sure that it all came out correctly was definitely probably the most difficult. So I would definitely say that was definitely one of the most difficult parts for me.
I think honestly, because so my character, obviously you see she's got a little a little bruised up in the film. Trying to make sure that the makeup was consistent and not too faded one week, not too faded the next, because it needs to look consistent. That was a little yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, when it came to really like, I guess, learning about my character, and then like I will say, like, I go heavy into like improvisation, so I was kind of trying to like figure out really like how would Rodney really like deliver this to his son with what he's currently going through. So and just trying to figure out what that was, and then of course, you know, trying to keep that same presence, you know, during the rehearsals and during the shoot. So yeah, I'd probably say probably that. If that makes sense.
Got you. Actually, the next question is from the audience. And so that question is specifically for our director. The question is, why did you tell Marcel's story in the end and not when they were all in the circle?
We kind of like wanted to build up to Marcel's story, because not saying that like his story was any more important or heartbreaking than the rest of the stories, but from the beginning, the movie was kind of like building up towards like everybody else. You know, we see Kaiseline or Simone, she's bruised up, and Marcel tells Caroline, she's a drunk. And then like they talk about Eliza as like, oh, she's a goody goody, why is she even here? But then she talks about how her goody goody is the reason she's here, basically. And then Bryson's quiet, and even like in the first scene they pick on Bryson, but it's like no one's talking towards Marcel or anything. So it's like, okay, so why is he here? Like, he's clearly doesn't want to be here, but no one wants to be here, so why is he here? So it's kind of like we want to build up to the reason that he's here, so at the end you're like, oh wow, so that's why he's here. Like, that he has some stuff going on, because like you see Monique is like, you know, we don't want you to be like dad, or, you know, I promised mom that I would take care of you, and all these things. So clearly his parents aren't in the picture, but you don't know why his parents aren't in the picture. So it's like, if we had reversed it and told his in the beginning, it kind of would have felt like a little bit of a letdown to like say like Eliza's story in the end or something. And it's like, okay, well, his dad's arrested for life and his mom is dead, but you know, she's upset. She's sad that she's perfect. Like, it doesn't seem like it would have went the right direction. So we kind of wanted to build it up towards the big reveal, like, basically. So that's kind of why we went. You know, Jordan probably might have a better idea because it was her idea, but you know that. Oh wow, whatever. Okay, so go ahead then, Jordan. Tell us why we went that direction.
Okay, well,
Save
from a
the
writing
best for last.
standpoint, I'll always. But
Anyway.
but so kind of what you were talking about in the beginning about how Marcel is not really included in like the sessions. It's like he's a presence there, and he's obviously like an important character, but it's like, why? And we see that he kind of gets more of his story told, getting his story told throughout the movie. It's like, you know, we have mentions of, you know, his sister, and we have like multiple scenes in their apartment and things like that. And it's like, okay, so why are all these things kind of like surrounding him, but we still don't really know anything about him? And when I was writing it, I was trying to figure out a way to basically end the movie without it being like a sappy type, oh, just walk into the sunset, everybody's happy type situation. And thinking about like Marcel's character, it just didn't fit that he would actually want to share his life story first at all. It didn't really fit that he would want to share it to the strangers unless there was something that actually impacted his life, that he was like, okay, now it's time, like it's like a do or die situation. Like, if I want to be a part of this group of individuals who are imperfect but who are trying, then I have to actually be vulnerable. And I felt that it would have taken him the longest amount of time to like build up trust to actually share and be vulnerable.
I see it.
Jaded.
I see it.
He's super jaded.
So
Right, guys.
the next question is actually for me, and it is for the writers of the script.
Ooh.
Question is, just how did you come up with the backstories for the characters?
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. this question is always like whenever someone asks me this question, there's so many parts, but simplified, basically, yeah. Some of the stories are based off of true-ish experiences that others around me have had. Some of the stories are completely fictional, but are still kind of based off of just general events type situation. Marcel's story is kind of like that. Simone's story, both of their stories I kind of created together. But like Caroline's story, Eliza's story, those were like based off of other people, but like loosely. So I just took a lot of creative license and just used my background in English and psychology basically to create all the character stories.
This question will be for the cast. And it is, were you able to relate to any of the characters?
Yeah, I think they all, you can relate to all of them in the sense that they all have different things going on that you don't know about in their lives, but they're things that you know high schoolers deal with, because obviously we've all been to high school and we know other people who have gone through some things, and a lot of people go through kind of a lot of their roughest points in around their high school years, whether high school or college. So there's always that small bit of relatability, even if it's not directly tied to you.
Yeah, for me, I don't think I necessarily related to my character so much. Me and Marcella are kind of opposite people. There were points in the story where you can say, hey, I identify with the feelings that this person is going through. You know what I mean? The feelings of wanting to do something creative with your life and being forced to pursue a education more strictly than following your passion is a constant battle that I have personally encountered in my life. So yeah, I think that a lot of these characters are loosely relatable. And I feel like the audience is definitely going to find themselves in one of the characters, if not multiple characters, that are in the movie.
I think the whole film, I think everybody's going to be able to relate to in just like a broad spectrum, just because it shows that no matter what, there's always, everyone's going through something. And I think, throughout this movie, any person who's watching this is going to be at one point in the film like, dang, I can relate to that. I don't have the closest knit family. Sometimes I do feel like I have to do it on my own. There are going to be people who are like, yeah, I feel like I have to keep all this stuff to myself. And then, there are going to be people who are being pushed into another direction in their life, whether it be job-wise, that might not want to be going that direction. So I think overall, this film, everyone can just relate to, and you're going to be able to see that, everyone goes through something. So, I just think overall this film is good. No matter who you are, you're going to relate to it at some point.
For sure.
All right, so this next question is going to be for everyone. We could start with the crew and then go on to the cast. What were some of your favorite scenes in the film?
Actually, my two favorite scenes in the film, well, the first one we weren't supposed to even do was with the one that Ilya was talking about when he was talking to the principals about getting personal time with, or one-on-one time with the students. That scene we weren't even going to do because I had created it like 3 hours before we started shooting. And I was kind of, because we were trying to fill some time, and I was like, well, if they, aren't comfortable learning these lines in 20 minutes, then we just won't do it. It's cool. And, thankfully everybody was on board. And when I was editing, it was like 17 or 18 takes, but understandably, it was the definition of on the fly. So, and then my other favorite scene was like scene 4, but the scene with Marcel and Caroline. I talk in numbers because that's how I label the scenes. But that scene also wasn't supposed to happen that way. Something happened in practice. I don't remember, but I think Caitlin, who plays Caroline, who's not here, just kind of got upset, I guess. She got in character in practice one day and stood up while she was yelling at Marcel, and Sean stood up too. And I was like, oh, all right, that's cool. And so we just let it go. And then we were like, yeah, Do that.
That was a good
Do
moment.
that. Yeah, so that was definitely one of my favorite scenes. Oh,
Yeah.
great. And then the other scene that we had to ad lib with Simone after her bathroom scene was she's yelling at the principal, because another scene that we made up, we actually made that one up with less time than we made up the one for Ilya, because stuff happened and we had to like rewrite the entire scene in the green room. Actually, we're like, all right, guys, we're about to go shoot this scene, but we can't do anything that's on this paper. We have to do everything different. So it just came out well, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if I like those scenes because they were good or because of what it took to get there, but those are my favorite scenes by far.
There you go.
Joe, you want to go first? Or?
I'll go. Okay. My favorite scene, the first one was the one with Marcel and Caroline where they got into like the altercation. I'm not going to go too deep into that since we already talked about that one. My second favorite scene though was kind of my favorite because of a lot of different reasons, but it was the one in the bathroom with Simone where they had like their little fight scene and stuff like that. I thought that one was really cool because one, I was really interested to see how we were gonna create that because I was like, how is this going to go down basically? So I like kept on peeking in the bathroom when they were recording because I was like, I just want to see what's happening. And it was also funny because before we even started filming it, I had to like run downstairs into the basement and like scout the bathrooms out, and I was like put up like a sign that said like out of order so no one would go in, and I was like people tried to go in and I was like you can't use this bathroom right now, and then like they just like a bunch of guys coming out and I was just like, yeah, you can't use this one. So I like put like a sign in the hallway that said the bathrooms weren't like able to be used right now, so that was just really fun for me because I was like, this is so interesting. So that whole scene was just interesting.
I guess for me, it would definitely have to be the bathroom scene. Because that was, for me, I think, that was probably the most intense scene that I've done so far. And for me, like on my own, I write like action thriller type stuff. So a fight scene in any film for me is like, oh, I can't wait to get close. And yeah, it was interesting because I when going in, I could not see by default what exactly we were going to do with it. So when we got in there, we had to mess around with the space that we had, which was really just like
all those mirrors. Oh my
God!
god!
Oh my god!
Yeah,
and the mirrors
coming
for
on
lighting.
because they were automatic.
Oh yeah, people kept flushing toilets by accident. Like me, actually, not people. It was me, but it's
not people.
Because we had to hide our sound in the stall.
Yeah, and then the toilet started flushing behind me. I was like, dang it.
It was a definition of indie, and it was great. I love
it. I really like that bathroom scene too. I mean,
the bathroom scene was the littest scene. Apparently.
It must have been.
It's just the way we were able to capture it. I have never seen anything like it before. I was like, oh. I saw the finished product. I was like, oh wow, hey, I did something. I know, that's crazy. I was really happy.
That's great.
That scene, yes, definitely gives me confidence in writing because I was like, okay, I can actually write a fight scene. It can actually happen. Like when I wrote it, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but this is what I'm gonna write.
And I was super nervous. I'm sorry, I was super nervous because we did not practice the fight at all.
There was no.
For some reason, we never got to practice the fight at practice. So we were just like, oh yeah, you go in the bathroom and you guys fight, and then we would go to the next scene, not thinking about the fact that there's a fight.
That it's a whole fight.
Like we didn't work on the fight at all. So the fact that it came out and it didn't look like we were pulling punches was actually cool.
Mm-hmm. I get a lot of comments about the trailer, man. Like, oh, you're looking kind of vicious there.
Yeah, everyone kept telling me, "Oh my god, did she hit her?" I was like, "You mean like in real life?" No, she didn't hit her.
She throwing hands.
I definitely was watching the trailer and I flinched.
And it's crazy because when I was editing it, I was like, "Dang, there's a lot of space between her hand and her face. I hope nobody notices." But nobody noticed. So I was like, "Oh yeah, good job, guys. We did
it." Stage combat comes in handy.
Yeah, good job, everybody.
I'll go. So my favorite scene, definitely scene 4. I call Shorty a raging alcoholic in that scene. That's kind of wild, just in general statements. but because we've already talked about scene 4 and that scene with me and Caroline, I'm gonna talk about the scene that David and Austin were in when Rodney throws this man onto the bed. Now, I was also in this scene, like helping out as far as like crew. So I was helping them with the lighting and make sure the lighting was coming out good because the room was kind of cramped. So you had to have one person on the bed to hold the lighting.
It was more of us on the bed. It was like 3 of us standing on that bed.
All on the bed, right? And so he's doing the scene, he's going into it. Now, mind you, I'm not really paying attention because it's not my scene, but I'm holding the light up where I'm supposed to be. And all I see is Austin flop on the bed and paper fly everywhere. I'm like, and then they was like, all right, cut. And they was like, yo, that was so good. Da, 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 da. It was just real intense. Watching the trailer back and everything was seeing it all come together. Seeing the movie and seeing it all come together was just phenomenal, man. Like that scene was probably one of my favorites. For sure.
I honestly, I completely agree. When I watched that scene, I was like, damn, this man just straight up flipped. Like he just flipped the switch of how angry he got. And I was like, damn, he really like an abusive father over here. So, that definitely was my favorite scene because I was just like, damn, I'm a little scared for this guy over here. Like it was just that authentic. And, I mean, you know it's a movie, but you're like, damn, I don't want him as a dad. Like shit. But I would honestly say that was definitely my favorite scene, just because there was such a quick flip of emotion. Like he went psychotic, his son, and I was like, damn, oh my god.
David is not like that. David never like that. So I was like, wow. Because remember, we were downstairs.
He only was like that in practice.
We were downstairs shooting.
Like in the
yeah. Remember me? Remember we were downstairs shooting or working on another scene, and we just heard him upstairs. He was like, practicing. We was like, are they all right? Like. That's a lot.
I'll show you how bad like
crazy. Oh wow. And then the lady that owned the house was in our other room. We were like, is she like I hope she doesn't care.
She was definitely upset, I feel like.
But yeah, that was definitely my favorite scene, 100%.
Oh jeez. Thank you.
Who was next?
Favorite scene. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do like the bathroom scene because it was, just a lot of energy. But I really like doing the group therapy scenes just because it's everybody together going off each other's vibing off of each other, and then in between the takes, we have our little jokes and everything. So
yeah, I was gonna probably add in once again. I do like the bathroom scene quite a bit, but since I know everyone's been saying that one, I will say the scenes with Dr. J and the kids, though, where, he's trying to get through to them and, like, for a bit they're trying to fight, like, no, we don't want to change, and they're just, the problems are just getting to them. But overall, it did kind of give me a little bit of that Breakfast Club kind of vibe where, they're at first they're expressing their differences, but then it goes into the phase where, they're starting to see one another, their differences and kind of going into that acceptance a little bit. So kind of remembering that and remembering the Breakfast Club, that was kind of I kind of like that, I guess, aspect. Yeah.
I can see that. I can see the Breakfast Club reference.
Yeah.
This question really for everybody. And don't be biased, tell your actual answer.
Me, I'm my favorite.
Who was the funniest person on set?
Oh man.
The age-old question.
I have to ask y'all the same question.
The age-old question.
Ilya.
Me. I was the funniest on set.
Okay.
Nah, Ilya was definitely making me laugh. It was a couple times in the movie where I'm ad-libbing. It was more than a couple times, but where I'm ad-libbing, you know what I'm saying? And Marcel, he's a person that doesn't really care about the experience of the group therapy sessions. So he's looking out the window, looking at other people, picking with his fingers. And there's this one time where I'm ad-libbing kind of. I sit down and I get on my phone and Dr. J is doing his spiel. And while I'm sitting on my phone, just looking, he looks and turns to me. This is not scripted. He looks and turns to me. Can you put your phone down? And because I laughed so hard in the middle of the take, we had to take it out. But that was probably the funniest moment, like that me and him have shared. But I'm still the funniest that was on the cast.
Of course. Okay.
Self-confidence is important.
Huzzah.
So this question is from the audience, and once again, this is for the writers. The question is, what is the purpose of hearing Marcel's thoughts in the very beginning?
When I was writing, I don't know, because I don't remember what Jordan had for that part, but when I gave it lines, basically I was thinking what I would have said, like if I was in that situation, but then I was like, well, there's no one for him to talk to. Like, he can't just say it because he's by himself. That'd be weird. So I was like, okay, well, I want to hear it because it sets up the entire tone for Marcel. Like the whole movie, he's like, I don't want to be here from the jump. He's like, wow, like I expected more. You know, it's just some chairs in a circle. Like they made it seem like this was going to be something. You know, I expected so much more from this whole situation. Then the people start filtering in. He's like, oh wow, oh my God, not her. Like, oh my God, she talks so much, or like blah blah blah. And then Simone comes in. He's like, wow, I haven't seen Simone in so long. It's like, but without him thinking that stuff, none of that would have been known. So you wouldn't have. It sets up from the beginning like there's something between him and Simone. You know that from the beginning. He sets up like he's like, okay, well, he doesn't like Caroline clearly, so you know what's about to happen later won't be much of a surprise because it's been built up since he's been thinking about it since the first day, basically. And then you know, he's like, oh my gosh, she's laughing, she's loud, blah blah blah. So everything that he does from the rest of the movie was set up from his thoughts in the first scene, basically. So that's why we threw those in there. I'll let you know. Jordan might have a different opinion because apparently I'm wrong. So
I knew I was saying that. I was gonna add. You're completely right.
Oh, okay,
I was just saying that his thoughts definitely work to like humanize his character since we don't really hear much from Marcel throughout the movie. It's like his thoughts are kind of like the thoughts that we all kind of have. Like when we're sitting in a room and people walk in and instantly we're just like, oh, not her. And it's like, oh my God, not this person. It's like the thoughts that I usually have when I'm in class, like the first day of class, and I see people walking in. I'm just like, oh, that's my friend. Oh no, not you. It's just like those humanizing thoughts that we have that we don't share with anybody, but we're definitely thinking them.
So with Marcel already having some sort of connection to Simone in the beginning, right? How does that tie into, well, that will kind of have something to do with how she's able to get him to open up, right? And not
We
his
were middle
sister.
school lovers.
yeah, because that was weird.
Right, please
But,
no.
yeah, because it's like clearly Monique has been trying for a long time, been trying hard, but it's never worked. He doesn't care, blah blah blah. He moves on, but sometimes it just takes like he sees Monique not only as his sister but his mother because he doesn't have a mother at this time. So it's like when your mom's like clean up, clean up, clean up. It's like, okay, like that's what moms tell me. But if like someone comes to your house and like, bro, your room is dirty, you're like, all right, you're right, my room is dirty. So it's kind of like the same thing. Like it's someone important to him that's not always telling him what to do. Now it wants him to do something. And he sees, like, he's like, well, I don't care. I don't talk to nobody. So how can I hurt anybody if I don't even talk to him? But then he sees him not talking to her actually did hurt. And he's like, okay, well, maybe my self-destruction is actually destroying more than just myself. And so that leads to him opening up. Because someone did ask me who read the script, how come, you know, Kai Celine or Simone can get him to do things that his own sister can't? I'm like, well, because when you're not in that situation, you'll never know. But literally, if someone's telling you to do something all the time and you don't do it, as soon as someone else tells you to do something, you're probably going to think about it like, okay, maybe it's not just them. Maybe everyone's noticed.
Yeah, maybe it's a universal thing.
Exactly. Maybe it's not them, it's me. So that was that.
Enough. The Simone and Marcel, like, entanglement thing was like, it was really
We did. We had a middle school
I'm
entanglement.
trying. Let me not be pop culture, but they're like situation. We'll call it that. It was more so like a projection of what I like to write, because I like to write like in my actual writing, not like screenplay. So this is my first time writing anything that's actually like real. So usually I write like, you know, fantasy characters and things like that. They're usually really dark male characters and who work through like really a lot of emotional drama. So this is more like and I'm a huge romance person. Like I'm a simp. So this was definitely like me putting in my little signature of like a angsty male character who has to learn to be vulnerable. So that was definitely my signature. You'll probably find it everywhere. Sorry.
So
Wow.
one thing that's done in the film is that the students have their stories told in flashbacks, and I was wondering if you thought that was important, an important element of the story.
Yeah, I didn't want, because I felt like if they were just sitting in the circle and they were like, you know, Eliza's like, or well, Caroline, it says, you know, I was arguing with my mom one day and she got mad because I didn't make it into a talent show, and she stormed out and I started drinking. Boom. Like that's not super interesting. You don't get the emotion out of that, especially when you're watching a movie. Like if we're watching the movie, I would love to see the frustration. I would love to see how it affects her, not just hear her tell me it. Because we know it affects her because she's an alcoholic and she's 17 and she got held back. Like we know it bothered her some way, but right. But like it's like we know it affects her, but take us there, you know, put us in her shoes, because that's the whole point of an emotional movie. It's like we want to see how it affects you. We don't want to just hear you talk about it. Like
It's that
so
show don't tell.
exactly. We'd have just read the book if we wanted to just hear about it. Like let's see it.
Like I
So
love
yeah.
flashbacks as like a literary device, like to move the plot along. I love flashbacks. I do them all the time for that exact reason. It's like I hate writing huge long monologues. Like writing Marcel's monologue at the end. It's like challenge. Yeah, because I hate long speeches. I really hate them. So like for me, I always use flashbacks as a way to get around a long speech, because like I don't want to just narrate a whole thing. It's like I'd rather add in other characters and things like that and like have them actually speak.
And it also like it fleshed out their world, like the individual characters' worlds. Like we get to see Bryson, you know, we say Marcel doesn't talk, but Bryson talks a lot less. So like seeing his world was a lot different. Like you don't expect him to come from or to get in trouble for doing something so boisterous as breaking music equipment at school. You don't expect him to like yell back at his father, because he's not even talking when he's being asked to talk. So why would he talk when he's in danger of being thrown across the room? So, but seeing him talk or like get in his dad's face, sort of, you know, but get in his dad's face, like, you know, I want to do ABC. I don't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. You're like, oh, wow. Okay. So what we see in class is just not him. You know, that's interesting.
Right.
So we see the world
like,
that he comes from.
Right. And that kind of like parallels real life. It's like the way that people act at school doesn't always reflect who they actually are. It's like a lot of things happen. Like a lot of people fight silent battles that nobody ever knows. And it's like the flashbacks really show that like, you know, people actually really do go through things behind the scenes. And it's like, just because you see someone at school and you see them like, you know, 5 days a week, that doesn't mean you actually know them.
Again, this is for our writers and producers and directors.
Yay.
What is next with The Last Chance?
What's next? What kind of question?
Like, what are you gonna submit it? Are you gonna submit it to more festivals?
Right. I was like, no, there's no. Like,
is there like a part 2?
I'm gonna
like,
just. I know Ilya's been asking. No, there's no sequel. Like, I'm gonna just let everybody know now. There is no sequel.
I know.
The question. But either way, well, we've been submitted to, or we've been accepted into festivals so far. I don't know how many is waiting, 6 or 7. We're still pending because of notification dates. So the screenplay is submitted into a couple, I don't remember, 4 or 5. The screenplay itself and then the movie itself was submitted into like 6, and 2 we got into, 1 we didn't, and 3 more waiting. And so yeah, 1 that we got into is in like Istanbul, Turkey, actually. And-
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, we're international.
Yeah, they saw the trailer on Instagram and invited us. So I was like, oh, why not? And so yeah, we got that.
Fly us out.
And then and then one of them, the other one we got into is in Jacksonville, I think, Florida, something like that. And then we're waiting for 3 more that are spread out across the country. Nothing else international that I can remember. So yeah, that's what we're waiting on right
Fire.
We
Yeah.
popping.
Now, also for you, Mr. Mitchell, do you have any other projects coming up?
now. Well, I write all the time, so like, sure, technically. But I'm working on something that hopefully I can shoot before this year is over. But if not, maybe next year. But like, it will be shot. It will be done. It's just when is this question. Most of it depends on the writing because I'm not done. But after that, hopefully, you know, writing is really what's holding it up at this point. I'm just like, I write a lot at different things at the same time. Like, I'll just be writing one thing. I'm like, nah, I'm done with this. I'm gonna go write something else. And that's, you know, a terrible way to write because I never finish anything. But
The problem is he needs my collaboration.
she won't work with me. She doesn't want to. Like, I told her to help me, and she's like, nope. She says okay, and then she won't do anything. So like, I don't know how I'm supposed
Look, you
to work
can't
with
rush
that.
creativity. We already went through this.
Right?
We went through this
Like,
with Last Chance. You cannot
yeah,
rush.
we almost got to a fight trying to write this one. Like, so I don't even know the problem. I don't know why I need her help because she won't
But he
help
should
me.
understand that I work on my time.
Her time don't work for me though. That's the problem.
She works on her time, but her time don't work.
Collaboration.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
Collaboration.
word, bro.
Well, those
It is.
are all the questions that I had. There are a couple more audience questions, and one of them has to deal with the casting. They're wondering if race had played a part in that process.
Only in Marcel, and by default his sister. But I think that's it.
Wasn't adopted, guys.
Yeah, you know, by default, you know. But I think
Right.
that was it. Everyone else we just wrote, as far as I remember, you know.
Mhm.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But as far as I remember, Marcel, and like I said, by default, Monique, were the only ones that we went into like, okay, they're black. Like,
Yeah.
they're black. Because
I think.
oh, go ahead.
Oh no. I definitely saw Simone as a person of color. I don't know why I gave Marcel, Simone, and Monique all Creole names. So I was like, Creole, let's give them people of color. But it wasn't really like a set in stone type situation.
Yeah. But, you know, other than that, no, not really.
Not really.
You know, it's just open to.
We just wanted
everybody.
talent.
Right.
We're just looking for talent.
I'll just spend for reactions here. Well, I just want to go ahead and say good job to everyone, cast and crew, because
Oh man, thanks.
man, the film came out amazing. You all did your thing. The scenes I did help out on, you know. it was superb.
you did your thing too, you know.
It was superb.
Showtime.
The shooting hours would have been doubled without you. So
Yeah, honestly, like literally.
Yes.
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 Thank you for coming, please.
Those circle scenes were so terrible to shoot. Like,
Mhm.
oh my goodness, Jesus Christ,
You guys
So many
get the circle.
angles.
those angles were rough.
The
Like,
angles.
I
It
know.
was
I had
so
to
hard.
keep my therapy integrity because I was like, they would never do this in Rose. And this
It
would
was-
never happen.
no, it wouldn't. It was so
This would
hard.
never happen in Rose.
We were like, okay, did we get these 3? Yeah. And then we still missed somebody. We missed Bryson in one scene. He's not there, but he's talking. But I was like, dang, I don't really know what to do because it's too late.
Great, he's not there.
It's too late.
No, it's too late. So yeah, you know, other than that, it was rough, but it worked.
It did work. It's just the story and the process. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You gotta
Yeah.
appreciate the process.
Sure.
The
Mhm.
part people miss. That's a
Facts.
word. Hey,
fun.
quote me on that. Quote me on that. Come on.
it's a bar.
Coach yourself.
Right.
I'm gonna put it
You
on
have a
the shirt.
Twitter.
Yeah, go tweet it yourself. You got Twitter, we'll retweet it.
Share it out to
You
everybody.
gotta pay me for the retweet. I'm a movie star now, King.
Oh, here we go.
Oh wow. We have to
There we
discuss
go.
prices. Is there anything anybody else wanted to say to fellow coworkers, our family?
Congratulations to everybody that was in this film. We did it. It's out. Check it out. Love it. Like it. Share it with your friends. Thank you to the entire cast. Y'all made this show super fun. Like I said, I'm not an actor, so y'all helped me with all my acting needs. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to y'all. You know what I mean? That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
Marcel shining out.
That last scene
You
was
would
rough.
really think he had a really important.
I'm saying he must forget how hard it was to shoot that last scene.
Right.
That
We should
last
definitely discuss
scene.
the last scene. I'm just saying because that
Let's
was
just
ridiculous.
Lovey, let's just talk about it real quick. How he had to put his hood on and wear AirPods.
So I had to read
Yes,
the script
and
to him.
And he still
He's
got it
still
wrong.
messed up.
And then sometimes we heard her in
Ghetto.
the background,
Yes, it
so we
was
had to
Right, we would hear
exactly.
him reading.
Yeah.
I was trying to deliver the lines with
You literally
artistic
memorized
integrity
nothing.
while I had my AirPod in
Yes.
and trying to hear the line.
You
It was
literally
good. It was good
memorized
until
that
that
one
one
time. Yeah, it was
She
good
had
up
to
until
whisper. So I was like,
Can't hear her.
speak up. Can you I can't hear you.
But
can't
now all
hear
would
you.
have been solved if you memorized the line.
Exactly.
So
But it's cool.
Well,
it was fine
I think
now.
we
As
did a
long,
great
at least
job.
we didn't have to do that for every scene. I'm just glad
I
we
know
didn't
that's
have to do
why I
that for
said
every
no
scene.
monologues.
Yeah, it was just on the last long monologue where I was pouring my heart and soul to the cast and letting them know, yo, my mom,
And
Clip,
then we
my
had to use something
dad,
else anyway.
Clip.
Then we had to use something else anyway. We went through all that at what 12:30. It felt like at night. It wasn't.
Yes.
It felt like it.
Yes.
I
And then we
think
couldn't
I
even
might
use the
have
scene.
cried that
Didn't
night.
feel
Then we
like
couldn't
it.
even use the scene.
Matter of fact, we went from that scene straight over to the apartments and went and shot the apartment scene.
Yes, in the
Well,
wind.
shout out to Rachel for learning those
Thank you.
lines.
Yes, learn those lines the day
Oh my
of.
God.
Right.
An
That was
entire
great.
scene,
Yeah.
entire character.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's professional.
I can honestly say I
The
was
beauties
going
of
to cry that day.
filmmaking.
Honestly,
Oh man,
Yeah.
it was fun though.
it was.
It was
We'll
Yeah.
see you
fun.
in the next one.
Yeah.
You'll
In
see this
hindsight,
face again.
in
Yeah.
hindsight,
Let's
it
run
was
it
fun.
back. Let's do another.
Yeah.
We'll get to acting again.
Okay, we'll
All right.
slow down, everybody.
Fine. I won't be in the next movie. Maybe.
Damn, don't crush his dream.
No, crush my
No,
dreams. It's
he
cool.
can be
It's
in
cool.
it. He was talking about, we'll be back soon. I was like, oh, slow down. We'll slow down. Okay?
Last Chance Part 2.
Let's all
We
calm
still
down.
ain't
What's
got
happening?
it together.
Let's
Going
let's
on in
pump
Last
let's
Chance
pump
Part
our
2.
brakes.
Last
No
Chance
sequel,
2
but a
still ain't
different
got
film.
it together.
There we go.
Right.
Different film. That's what I like to hear. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just think Last Chance 2, We Still Ain't Got It Together is a pretty fire sequel name. That was all the
Still
dope.
ain't got it
Long
together.
sequel.
Did really
We
the
still
last
ain't
was
got
the
it together.
so it wasn't
That's
the
like
last
a Harry
chance.
Potter sequel. Man. It's like a whole
Last
series.
Chance.
So it wasn't the last
Again.
chance. It was kind
Right.
of the last chance. This really is the last chance though.
Nah,
That
this
has
the
to be
real
the
Last
title.
Chance.
Last chance for real.
Yeah, Last Chance for real.
For real this
The
time,
sequel.
That sounds like a parody.
Nah,
Yeah, it
Bro,
does. This is a
Or
scary
you get the name of the
Thinking
bloopers
that.
video, maybe.
right.
Oh.
The actual last chance.
Last Chance, but
See?
in real time.
Yeah.
Last
See,
tape.
now we have to get the blooper reel out.
Okay, I'll work on
That
it.
blooper
Okay.
reel is gonna be something else.
It
Money,
is.
It'll be,
money
it'll be a
shots
lot.
on the blooper
It'll be
reel.
most of it will be Ilya trying to draw his family and laughing.
or it'll be when we're in the middle of the fight and Ilya throws all his paperwork in everybody's face.
Yeah,
That's
the whole
what's coming.
script and everything just flies onto the floor.
Wait a
See,
minute.
we
Stop
gotta
it.
get that blooper reel.
And the funny part
Crack
is,
my-
we stopped that scene, but it wasn't in the shot. It was a close up. The paper wasn't in the shot, but he stopped anyway.
He stopped because it was so funny.
It was
That's
on the
why
mic
he
though, so
stopped.
it worked. It was on the mic. We heard all of it, so it was okay. But we didn't see anything. We just saw him stop.
Mhm.
Wait, everyone. Drop all the papers.
Well, that was. Thank you guys for coming back again.
Welcome. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you to our host, Showtime.
Hey,
Nope. Huh?
Follow me on all social media platforms at Showtime. That's with 3 W's and 2 E's. Spell it correctly, or else you're not gonna find me. So I'm saying I'm working it out with the Showtime network. We will work something out.
Right.
Good. I like Showtime though, so be careful. Like the channel.
I'm a
I mean, I
winner.
like your name too, but I like the channel. So.
Make sure I'm on there.
Okay. All right. Well.
Why don't you just spell time with a Y?